I want to thank our reader, Nancy Wirtz, who's such a good reader, and Gary Lynn Floyd and Karen Mitchell, as well as our music team, for the great music that supports the message today. This month of February, our theme is Living in Love. And I know yesterday was Valentine's Day, and a lot of you probably were enjoying the partnership of love. And for those of you that weren't, remember that love comes in all kinds of forms. Today, we're exploring the transformative power of love. Love is not merely an emotion. In the science of mind, love is actually a spiritual principle. It's a creative force that shapes our experiences. It's not that I'm talking about sentimental love. This is active, intelligent, courageous love. You know, Ernest Holmes wrote, "Love is the greatest healing power there is." And when we live from love, we don't simply react to life, we transform it for ourselves and for those people that we encounter. So while you ponder those ideas, let me give you your question for the week. What is the one choice you might make today to understand before reacting, to see the good even in difficult situations, and to set intentions and move from that vision to action? One more time. What's the one choice you might make today to understand before reacting, to see the good even in difficult situations, and to set intentions and move from vision to action? So today we're exploring how love is a transformative power. The science mind teaches that there is one life, that life is intelligent, and that life responds to consciousness. And love is the tone and the quality and the atmosphere of that consciousness. Ernest Holmes told us, "We live in a universe governed by law, but the law is set in motion by love." Love isn't passive. It acts through us as clarity, compassion, courage, and choice. One of love's first transformations is this: it invites us to pause. Before reacting, love asks these questions. What's really happening here? What's being asked of me right now? How can I respond from my highest self? If we learn to ask those questions, the world would be such a much better place. In 1 Corinthians 13:4, the Bible says, "Love is patient. Love is kind." Patience is not a weakness. It's a spiritual strength. And I wish I had more of it sometimes. A Course in Miracles teaches us this: you respond to what you perceive, and as you perceive, so shall you believe. Love changes perception. And when perception changes, behavior follows. In the spiritual practice of the sacred pause that I talked about last week, you might remember that we paused, and one of the questions that we would ask was this: what would love do here? Even a couple-second pause and asking yourself that question can transform an entire interaction. And here's another spiritual practice that might help. It's called the 90-second rule. When triggered, wait 90 seconds before responding. You know, neuroscience tells us emotional reactivity peaks quickly, and spiritual wisdom tells us truth is always present. So use those 90 seconds to breathe, to affirm love, and to remember who you are, or use them to repeat this affirmation. How is it I so willingly pause before I respond, choose understanding instead of reaction, and let love guide my words and actions? It's a great affirmation. How is it I so willingly pause before I respond, choose understanding instead of reaction, and let love guide my words and actions? This practice works because reaction comes from conditioned thought, while understanding comes from spiritual awareness. Love reorganizes consciousness. And as Ernest Holmes said, and I'm paraphrasing here, we cannot stop thoughts from coming, but we can choose which ones we entertain. That's not exactly the way he said it, but that was the essence of what he said. There was a woman who worked with a very difficult coworker who was critical, dismissive, always negative, and every morning she dreaded their interaction. Until one day, instead of bracing herself for the criticism, she tried something new. She silently affirmed, "I choose to see the Christ and the good and the love in you." She listened more, reacted less, responded kindly but firmly, and over time, something shifted, not just in the coworker, but in herself. The environment softened, their conversations changed, and even though the challenges very often remained, the suffering no longer did. Love didn't change that other person overnight. Love changed how that woman showed up, and that changed everything. So what's the moral to that story? Try asking what love would do. I know I ask what should love do here when I'm having difficulty finding God in a situation. And I do believe there's no spot where God is not, and so there must be good in all situations. It's just hard for me to see it sometimes. And I can almost hear your objections. Really? All situations? What about our political climate? What about the injustices that are happening in our country and around the world? What about whatever happens to be your objection? Well, let me explain. Seeing the good in all situations does not mean that I'm pretending that pain, injustice, or loss does not exist. Science of Mind is not about spiritual denial, but it is about spiritual discernment. It means trusting that something meaningful is trying to emerge. I want you to hear that. It means trusting that something meaningful is trying to emerge. And so in all those things that I mentioned, I can trust that something meaningful is trying to emerge, even if it's not emerging quite as quickly as I would like to see it emerge. Ernest Holmes was very clear about this distinction. He taught that when conditions may be difficult, reality itself is good, and good is always seeking expression. Here's what he wrote. There is a power for good in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. To see the good is not to excuse harmful behavior or to pass by our real emotions. To see the good is to anchor ourselves in a deeper truth that life is intelligent, creative, and forever moving forward towards wholeness. Forever moving forward towards wholeness. Science of Mind teaches us to distinguish between conditions, that's what is happening, and cause, which is the spiritual principle underneath all of our experiences. Conditions change. What happens changes. Cause is eternal. That spiritual principle underneath our experience is always love. When we look only at conditions, we react from fear. But when we look from cause, we respond from love. You know, Jesus pointed to this when in John 7:24, we read that he said this, "Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment." Righteous judgment is not condemnation. It is right seeing. Right seeing. And love changes perception before it changes circumstances. A Course in Miracles teaches, seek not to change the world, but choose to change your mind about the world. When we see through love, something subtle and powerful happens. Our nervous system actually relaxes. Our imagination opens, and new possibilities become visible. I love all of that, so hey, seeing through love looks like a good idea. Love doesn't always remove the challenges immediately. It does change how we meet it, and that changes everything. The Dalai Lama reminded us, when we change the way we look at things, the things we look at change. I love that quote because it points to me to make changes. And seeing the good is actually an act of spiritual courage. It's easy to see the good when things are going right or when they're going the way we'd like them to. The spiritual practice is to see the good when they're not. Buddha taught that suffering arises not just from pain, but from our resistance to what is. So are you resisting what is? Love invites us to accept, not resignation, but acceptance. Seeing the good might sound like something like this. I don't like this, but I trust life and that love are still right where I am. Or I'm hurting and there's still something meaningful unfolding. Or this isn't the end of the story. Lao Tzu wrote, at the center of your being, you have the answer. You know who you are, and you know what you want. Of course, that quote starts with at the center of your being, so we have to be tuned in to who we are. Love helps us listen for that deeper knowing. So learn to reframe those difficult situations, and instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try looking at love and inviting this question, what is trying to emerge through me right now? Do you see the power in that? That's transformative. Jonathan Parker often teaches that spiritual maturity means learning to hold both compassion and responsibility and being gentle to ourselves while we're doing that with others, while remaining open to growth. So let's try a spiritual practice that helps us to see the good in all situations. Yes, in all situations. I call it practicing right seeing. When something difficult arises, first, name what's real for you. This is hard. Ground yourself in truth. Life is still good. And ask love a question. What is mine to learn, express, or release here? What is mine to learn, express, or release here? This practice is not forcing optimism. It's allowing wisdom to speak. And have you ever noticed often that the good doesn't arrive wrapped the way we expected it to? It arrives nonetheless. just not the way we were expecting. Someone once told me that they asked the universe for a sign, and it sent them a lesson instead. I feel that way a lot. And don't we all just love those lessons? Lao Tzu reminds us, when you let go of who you are, you become who you might be. Love helps us release all those old interpretations of ourselves so new meaning can show up. And Buddha taught, and again I'm paraphrasing this, hatred never ends through hatred. Only through love does it end. Love reveals possibilities where fear sees dead ends. So I finally learned patience. Unfortunately, it took years and years and several traffic jams. Really, I believe love is learned in real life, especially in those slow lanes. And when we practice seeing the good, we can de-escalate conflict. We become less reactive, and we create space for healing. I spoke last week about how my dean, Catherine Economo, always was reminding her students that spiritual growth invites us into authentic presence, not perfection. So let's not forget that seeing the good involves seeing the good within ourselves, even when we stumble. And I can tell you, I stumble pretty frequently, but love says, you're more than this moment. Ernest taught us the ultimate truth. The universe is friendly to our deepest intentions. The universe is friendly to our deepest intentions. Seeing the good is not wishful thinking. It's aligning with reality. To see the good is to stand in faith. To see the good is to trust, love, and that love knows the way. And to see the good is to remember who we are. We are love. And when we do those things, life responds. So, in Science of Mind, intention is love given direction. Yes, we can focus love's creative power. Ernest Holmes said, the creative mind responds to us as we respond to it. So when we clarify what we want, love organizes around that, and love supports it, and action follows. In Matthew 7:7, we read that Jesus taught this: ask, and it shall be given. Seek, and you shall find. Love begins with a clear inner yes and the ask. We're not going to be given it if we don't learn to ask. So let's use the spiritual practice. I call it intention setting. Reflect on this question. What do I truly want to experience more of? Then ask this question. How would love express through that desire? Then write one clear intention this week and speak it daily with gratitude. I love that spiritual practice because the truth is, love is not complete until it's lived. We have to figure out what it is we want and how would love express that through us. The Dalai Lama teaches love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. And love becomes real through our kind words and through our courageous boundaries and through our inspired steps forward. Jonathan Parkett truly taught in alignment with the science of mind, and he reminded us that love is not just something we feel, It's something we have to practice through conscious choice and embodied action. I love that. Practice love through conscious choice and embodied action. Love always invites us to show up honestly and compassionately. A Course in Miracles says, love holds no grievances. When we release grievances, we reclaim our freedom. Love reveals who we really are, and it moves us from prayer into participation. So we can ask, but we have to, as we say it, treat and move your feet. So as I near the end of this message, I want you to remember some of the things that our philosophy believes about love. We believe love is the highest expression of the one life that is God. We believe that love is not merely an emotion, but a spiritual principle, an active, intelligent, creative force that animates the universe and expresses through each of us. We believe that love is the nature of our true being, guiding our thoughts, shaping our intentions, and directing our actions. And we believe as we consciously choose love, we align ourselves with the law of good, allowing healing, harmony, clarity, and right action to unfold naturally in our lives. Living from love, we become agents of transformation within ourselves, with our relationships, and in the world. So this week, remember this. Love is the nature of God and the essence of our true being. As we choose love consciously, we align with the law of good and allow harmony, healing, and right action to unfold. Take a breath and breathe that in. And so we affirm, and I do invite you to say these with me. How is it I so lovingly remember love is the life of God within me? How is it I so willingly pause, breathe, and choose love? How is it I so effortlessly know love shapes my thoughts and guides my words? How is it I so easily see the good seeking to emerge? How is it I so gratefully see my intentions are rooted in love and supported by love? How is it I so joyfully accept love moves from vision into right action? How is it I so graciously release fear and rest in divine love? How is it I so effortlessly know love transforms me and love blesses the world through me? And so in summary, how in 2026 might you engage in that transformative power of love? Well, remember, understand before reacting. Pause and respond from your highest self. And understand from your spiritual awareness. See good even in the difficult situations. Trust that something meaningful is trying to emerge. Use the power of good in the universe and choose to change your mind about situations. Set intentions and move from vision to action. Seek what you want to experience more of in life and live love through conscious choice and embodied action. So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so willingly, energetically, and effortlessly understand before reacting, see the good, even in difficult situations, and set intentions and move from vision to action? And your challenge for the week: in any aggravating or difficult situation, pause and know that love can be your conscious choice. So spend this next week seeing the good in absolutely every event that happens in your life. That's a challenge for you. And commit to using some of the spiritual principles that can embrace this transformative power of love. You can use the ones I gave you or make up your own. Before our closing prayer today, I'd like to move us through a reminder of how we can learn to use that transformative power of love effectively in our lives. So I'm going to put this up on the website, but I ask you to participate with me right now, because the Bible in James 1:39 teaches us, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. So here's what we can do. Take a deep breath and imagine something that happened that triggered you this past week or month. It might have been an email, a comment. It might have been a cross look somebody gave you. And now, stop. Pause your body. Do nothing for one breath. And feel the spiritual authority in that pause. And now we breathe and we remember the truth. Take a slow breath in through the nose and gently release it. And then affirm, there is one life, and that life is love. There is one life, and that life is love. Notice how the breath brings you out of aggravation and back into alignment with the love that you are seeking and the love that you are. That phrase, there is one life and that life is love, is quite powerful. Now, shift from reaction to understanding. Just ask yourself inwardly, from that heart that's your spiritual heart, what's really happening here? What am I feeling beneath my reaction? What might be true for the other person that I can't see yet? Understanding begins with listening, especially inward listening. And now we choose love consciously by silently asking, what would love express through me now? What would love express through me now? It might be a calm silence, a clear boundary, a kind word, a delayed response, or some other nudge that you feel. Just remember, love is not passivity, it's intelligent action. And our final step is to respond from your highest self. It might mean that you respond right now, or that you choose to wait to respond so that you can do it from clarity and really feel that compassion. Trust this. Something meaningful is trying to emerge through this situation. And when love leads, law supports. And now let's pray. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. There is one infinite intelligence, one loving presence, a universal good that expresses as all of life, including as me. This love is all there is, self-existence, self-expression, and eternally creative. I know that this same love lives as me, through me, in every situation of my life. The intelligence of love guides my thoughts, steadies my emotions, and directs my actions with clarity and grace, as it does for each person hearing this prayer. I affirm that as I choose love consciously, the law of mind responds perfectly, and understanding replaces reaction. Harmony replaces conflict, and right action unfolds naturally and effortlessly. And I know that each person heard something today in this time that we've spent together that encourages them to choose love and harmony and move their intentions into right action. I know that fear and judgment and resistance vanishes, and love dissolves every obstacle and reveals the good already present. I know that each person hearing this remembers that the infinite love of God is, and knows that love is not distant, yet it is present in every breath, in every choice, in every moment. I know we leave this service today willing to pause to see the good, to set clear intentions, and to move into action guided by love. We let our lives be living prayers, and our hearts instruments of that transformative power of love. I see that each of us is the embodiment of divine love, that love which guides our steps with wisdom and fills our days with gentleness and vision. I know we're each rooted in peace and lifted by love, and we choose today to live in divine alignment with the truth of our being, knowing all that we are and all that we might become is love. So may the tapestry of our lives continue to unfold in beauty and peace and purpose and love. And may we remember to see our truth revealed as we interact with others. I give thanks for this transforming power of love that is active in my life and in every life in the world. I'm grateful for each person who chose to spend some time with us today. Grateful we can go forth with joy and courage and an open heart and embrace the practices that support us knowing and expressing the transformative power of love. So it's with gratitude and joy and bliss and blessings that I release these words into that law of mind, spirit, and action, into that knowing that it is complete, it is done, it is fulfilled. So I can say amen, and we can affirm it together. And so it is. And I am so grateful for everyone that's contributing. I got some contributions in cash this past week, which was wonderful. And I'm hoping that each of you will step up a little bit and help us pay for our new computer and truly help this center stay a presence, an online presence, and a presence in people's hearts. So thank you very much and enjoy our offertory song.